At the end of each issue of NASCAR Video Magazine, I've asked for suggestions of what you'd like to see. And the #1 request is, what's it really like to work on a Winston Cup team? What does a crew have to go through to prepare to race? Well, in this issue, we're going to show you. The Morgan-McClure Kodak team, based in beautiful Abingdon, Virginia, allowed us to spend a week with them as they prepare to race in Charlotte. It's your chance to come along for an insider's look at what it's really like to work for the Daytona 500 championship team.
I couldn't describe to you how good you feel like when you win a Daytona 500 or you win a race or you run good. You know, it's, you don't have to worry about getting motivated or getting up to come to work because you get out of bed and you want to go to work. And it's like people that just work an ordinary job. I don't see how they, I don't see what draws them out of the bed anymore. And I know if I didn't do this, I don't even know how I could get up.
Everybody makes sacrifices. If you want to win, if you want to be successful, you got to do what it takes. And sometimes it's, the task is large and it takes a lot, and you have to give up a lot of other things that you'd rather be doing, maybe not rather be doing, but that you could be doing, that are just not as important as winning. And winning's everything to me and to this race team, and we're committed to it.
While crew member Jeffrey Ellis finally goes home, the rest of the crew is yet to return to Abingdon from 2 grueling days of testing. It's even later when the truck finally gets back to the shop, and in the surrounding hills, the crew finds their way to their homes for what will be a quick hello to their families and a short night's sleep. The crew arrives early. An extraordinary amount of work lies ahead. The team gets right to it, moving like a fine-tuned machine. Nothing needs to be said. Each man knows his job. After every race or test session, like the one the team has just completed at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, that's the site of this weekend's race, the entire car is disassembled from end to end. Virtually no part, no screw, no bolt, no cable is left untouched. Within minutes after the team has arrived, the engine is pulled and put on the dynamometer under the scrutiny of wily veteran Chief Engine Builder Shelton Pittman, better known as Run. The dyno is perhaps the most important single tool Winston Cup teams use to test engines in their never-ending search for horsepower. All told, the team will be bringing 6 engines to Charlotte. And while this one is on the dyno, the men in the engine room continue work on finishing the others in time to get the rig on the road later this afternoon to head to Charlotte. Close to 3 hours after getting to work, the team finally takes a short break.
If you don't have a slick body and a big motor and a decent driver, you can go to the front. But if you got a good driver and he ain't got nothing to drive, he ain't going to front. So it's 100% team effort. We got, what, 25, 28 people here? If they're on a 20-man team, 40 hours a week, that's 800 man-hours. Yeah. And everything clicks together and comes together all at one time for the team to leave and go to the race.
We're here not because of all the money we're making, but because we like what we do.
Yeah, you gotta
like to see that team effort come through.
The crew gets back to work, and crew chief Tony Glover checks on cars being readied for races down the road. All told, the Morgan-McClure team has in excess of a dozen cars. The crew works steadily through the morning and into the afternoon. The truck needs to be loaded and gone before the end of the day. It's a battle against Murphy's Law. Every part must be perfect, and it must be perfectly measured, calibrated, and installed. Make no mistake about it. While this is precision work, it's also tough, physical work. And the hours away from friends and families aren't only long, they're hard. All the pieces have come together, and finally, the engine is dropped back in the car.
Oh man, both done it too.
Move, Paul.
A crew member calls out, "Fire in the hole!" and the engine roars to life. While the work at the shop is critical, the true test comes at the racetrack. Later in this edition of NASCAR Video Magazine, we'll join the Morgan-McClure Kodak Chevrolet team in the garage area of the Charlotte Motor Speedway and let you see what it's like to work in the Winston Cup garage area. Earlier, we had a chance to spend time with the Morgan-McClure team at the shops as they prepared to race at Charlotte. Now let's catch up with the team at the racetrack and give you a chance to spend time on the other side of the fence in the Winston Cup garage area. After unloading, the first order of business is the first phase of inspection by NASCAR officials.
Well, the first thing we do, we go to the gas pump. We fill the car up with, racing gas. We go through the scales and weigh it. All Winston Cup cars have to weigh 3,500 pounds total weight. They have to weigh 1,600 pounds on the right side. Then they got the templates that you go through. You know, our cars are Chevrolet Lumina, but not all Chevrolet Luminas are the same. They want our cars to look like stock appearing cars, so they have just an aluminum template to simulate the shape of all the cars, and they have to meet that template within 3/8 of an inch. So any place you don't meet it, you have to trim, shave, or what have you to make it meet NASCAR's requirements. Yeah, right now we're ready. You know, we've got the sticker on our windshield, which means that it meets all NASCAR requirements, and right now we're just waiting for our first practice session.
He may not be with the crew all week, but make no mistake about it, Ernie Irvin's very much a part of this team. Together, they make a unique fit. The crew and the owners, calm, meticulous men. Ernie, brash and aggressive. Opposites that complement each other and make for a winning combination. Ernie's debriefed after every practice. I had a chance to talk to Tony and Ernie. Test session's over. What did you learn?
We learned that the track is extremely slick, and we got a lot of work to do yet.
What does he mean the track's slick?
Well, you know, Benny, you've been around this place a lot, and usually the place you have all the trouble here at Charlotte is in turn 3 and 4. Well, we're not having a whole lot of trouble through 3 and 4 right now, but man, I about wreck every lap down there in 1 and 2.
Having planned their strategy to attack the handling problem, they're back at it first thing in the morning, working on the rear end, cranking in wedge. You never stop chasing the track, particularly at Charlotte. That is, searching for the right combination in the setup. Wedge, tires, weight, we're trying to match the conditions on the track. That changes from day to day, sometimes even hour to hour, depending on the weather and the racing that's taking place on the track. In contrast to the previous day's heat, race day dawns cold, damp, and dreary, and it's threatening to rain. The team gets right to it. They have their work cut out for them, having qualified 16th in the 20-car field. Davey Allison and the Haviland team are on the pole. The rain does indeed stop, and finally it's time to go racing. Along with the tension, there's a sense of relief when the car is finally on the racetrack. All the preparation behind you, now it's time to figure out, is your car fast enough to beat all the other cars on this given day? Ernie charged, but he couldn't find a way around Elliott. It's one thing to run with Austin Bill from Dawsonville, another thing getting around him. Nobody looked to stop Davey Allison this day.
Whenever you come home with 5th best car, you don't feel very good about it because, you know, you come to be number 1, and today we won, but hopefully next Sunday we will be.
The crowd is long gone by the time the team pulls out. Ahead lies a 4-hour drive back to Abingdon. Then tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., they'll be back at the shop, pulling the car out and slapping the engine back on the dyno. By Wednesday, they'll be loaded up and heading out for the next race down the road. Yeah, it's tough, but not a one of them would have it any other way. They're racers.